oral communications. I am Rachel Jenny. I am doing my speech on one of my favorite composers. His name is Claude Debussy. He was a French composer and he was born in 1862 in France, and he was one of the most influential people in the Impressionable period, which was started in the early 1900s. The Impressionist period, what I mean by that is it's basically like when art and music started to take a turnaround and it started to be more contemporary. Like there was starting to become these strange pictures, like the Scream example. And things weren't near as traditional, like what with music anyways. Like a very traditional composer is Mozart. That's what a lot of people would think of as classical music, quote unquote. And a lot of Debussy kind of was one of those composers that changed things a lot. He wrote for the keyboard, orchestra, voice, ballets, and chamber music. And he was known for his very complex and beautiful melodies. As you can hear right now, this is one of his very famous pieces playing. And most of his music is actually similar to the style. It is very beautiful, dreamy. It seems to paint a picture for the listener, and it has a lot of dynamics in it. A little bit about his personal life. He was married twice. His first wife, he actually left for a singer, and that was obviously devastating to his first wife, but so much so that she tried to kill herself. However, she did fail, but after that obviously is very upsetting for him as well, and they all moved on, and him and his second wife did have a daughter together, which that was the joy of their life. Some history about him. He started studying piano at the Paris Conservatory when he was only 11 years old. And that's where he met Nadeza von Meck. Sorry, I'm not good with other languages. She was actually a patroness of Tchaikovsky. He wrote the Nutcracker Suite. She hired him as a piano teacher for her kids and introduced him to a lot of famous musicians, allowed him to travel. She got his foot in the door as far as music was concerned. Neither of his parents were musicians. His dad was a seamstress. His mom was a seamstress. His dad was a shoemaker. And so this Mrs. Meck was obviously very important to him. He began studying composition in 1880, and 4 years after that, he won the Prix de Rome with his cantata La Femme Prodiguée, which that is a very high honor, and you also get quite a bit of money with it. So obviously he was very excited, and what better to do with that than study more music? So he stayed in Rome for a couple more years. Unfortunately, he didn't write a whole lot of compositions around this time. He kind of had like the music form of writer block. So anyways, years after that, he came out with this piece called Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. And this is still a very famous work today. You hear it played on the piano. And he wrote this after a girl that he thought was really pretty, as a blonde girl that he saw at the fair. He didn't know who she was. He just wrote it about her. And then the following year, he premiered his opera, which is Pièce de Mesmenade, and that was in 1902. And this is where his career took off. A few of his really famous compositions it's the one that's been playing in the background. That's Claire de Lune. If you've seen Twilight, then you'll recognize it from there as the one that Edward plays. I mentioned Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. The Children's Corner, that's kind of cool. He really wrote that for his daughter, and it's a good piece there are good pieces, I should say, for children to play when they're first beginning, or really any beginner. They're really nice. And he wrote tons of preludes, etudes, nocturnes. Those are all just short pieces. They're good learning repertoire. It's kind of like doing a scale or something like that, but in more musically, they're a lot more interesting. They're normally not too difficult, however, they can be very difficult. And he has a few famous suites out there, and of course his opera that made him famous, which is Pièce de Malsmenade. And he didn't have a very long career. He died in 1918. And that's about it for Claude Debussy. Thank you for listening.